to Supercharge warehouse operation. For the same, the speaker is Mr. Arush Kakkar, an entrepreneur and author. Founded Agrex.ai to revolutionize brick and mortar businesses with video analytics. With a background in engineering and law, he enhances retail, logistics, banking, and security. Recognized as Entrepreneur of the Year, he mentors startups and advances AI researchers. Please welcome Mr. Arush Kakkar, founder and CEO of Agrex.ai.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to be here, and I've already had some pretty interesting conversations with a lot of honorable members from the audience, and I look forward to having more discussions during lunch after this presentation. So thank you for the introduction, and I'm Arush, founder of Agrex Technologies. Essentially what we do is we utilize cameras to identify process violations in multiple different physical businesses. And this presentation I'll focus more on warehouses because of course we're all logistics related companies here. And so the goal is to make the warehouses smart using AI-enabled video analytics. And I'm here in collaboration with Spectra. Spectra, we have a sales partnership in India. And Spectra is, of course, one of the largest ISPs and managed network service providers here. So I firmly believe in that one line is that you can't improve what you can't measure. So to improve anything, we first have to know what's going wrong, right? If we don't know how much we weigh, we don't know how much calories that we take in to lose weight, right? So essentially what we've done is we've identified some challenges which are there for most logistics operators, for some more than others, which includes a lot of losses and a lot of lost potential revenue due to damages or lack of accountability, stockouts, etc. So that is one of the things. And then another really important point is there's a limited insight into the on-ground operations, especially from HOs. There might be tens of hundreds of warehouses, but we don't know exactly what is going on in those warehouses unless and until something goes wrong or is visible, for example, in an Excel sheet where we're saying, okay, these percentage losses happen, but when they were happening, we don't know what was happening, right? Thirdly, there's a lot of decision making that is done, of course, in like all large organizations. But with physical businesses, a lot of decision making is still intuition driven and experience driven rather than utilizing real data. And these are stuff like real estate decision making, workforce, equipment, etc. And in cases where analytics is being done, a lot of it is post facto, in my experience. A lot of it is post mortem, and a lot of it is still manually done, where a person might be going back to the CCTVs and searching for incidents there. So this is what we hope to solve by essentially utilizing CCTV cameras as eyes. And the overarching goal is to automate a lot of monitoring tasks so that decision making can be improved, compliances can be improved, the non-compliances can be reduced. At the same time, physical security can be enhanced without using additional manpower. And of course, in a lot of cases, while all these goals are nice, there might be some bottlenecks due to which the operations are being hindered or being not utilized to their full potential. So essentially by utilizing cameras and seeing what is going on in the warehouses, we can identify, improve, and enhance. How it typically works is to utilize cameras, we have two ways utilizing an on-cloud solution or an on-premise solution, where we can connect the cameras to our AI platform through an analytics box, which acts like a bridge between your local network and our AI backend. And all these videos and images are processed locally and then sent to our cloud to be able to be viewed via a web-based dashboard, mobile app, or any other third-party integrations like WhatsApp, email, even SMS, or any other ticketing systems that you might already use, warehouse management systems, we have open APIs inbuilt. And similarly, if we go for a cloud-based solution, this bridge gets removed and the cameras are directly connected to the cloud while streaming videos. Of course, the choice depends on the bandwidth availability on the site, and the quality of the service remains same no matter which solution that gets used. Talking a bit more about specifics in terms of, so a lot of these use cases are around warehousing. So logistics is one of the industries, but any vertical, any industry, any company that uses warehousing in its operation can probably benefit from these exact solutions. So the most important ones would be around identifying the shipment integrities. So stuff like if someone opens the box in a fashion that is unauthorized or in a location that is unauthorized, we can send an immediate alert. If someone mishandles a box, for example, carries a box on shoulder, or stands on the box, sits on the box, we can identify that. If improper stacking is done and a lot of the boxes fall over, that could be identified and reported. All of this is in real time so that the relevant person, the person who is actually responsible for taking action on any process violation, is immediately notified. And all of this is hierarchy based as well. So you have record keeping for the head offices, but you have the alert sending for the person at the local warehouse. Even the regional managers, for example, could get the real-time alerts. And you're welcome to take photos of the screen, use cases, because I realize there might be a lot of slides about these use cases. So another important sort of metric is around vehicular monitoring. So how many trucks are entering into your facility? What is the average dwell time of that truck? Has the driver just parked the truck in your warehouse and just slept at some point? So it is important to know all these metrics so that a lot of these analytics can be used to reduce the KPIs or improve the KPIs that you care about. So if any truck, leaves or comes in uncovered, which might be not very ideal in terms of in the rainy season, so that can be alerted. There are number plate recognition systems for, if you want to manage your vendors or trucking companies or something like that. There are a lot of other processes that we can identify. For example, if there is the loading of on a truck is supposed to happen in a certain way. Say there are LCD panels being loaded and those are supposed to be loaded in a way that they don't break. If that process does not happen according to how it should happen, there can be an alert. There could be windshields. There could be a lot of sensitive items, high value items that could be used. That also we can monitor. There's cache operations that can be monitored. So if you have a vault or a cache room or a strong room, any unauthorized access towards that can be controlled, and if any violation happens, that can be reported, of course. So these are some of the very industry-specific cases. Of course, we have we have more than 150 use cases across different industries, which includes retail, banking, kitchens, QSRs, manufacturing as well. This, of course, is focused towards warehousing. Then there's more industry agnostic use cases, which is mainly related to the integrity of the cameras. So that means if anyone tampers with the camera, or if any camera, the image gets blurred for any reason, the angle is changed of the camera, all these incidents can also be reported. And, in a lot of cases, we found that any violation that happens, that gets reported, and then once the person who's responsible goes back and goes to the camera and checks, the camera was not even functioning. And that happens more often than any of us would like or accept. So a lot of these monitoring can be done where, if possible, the camera will be auto-diagnosed and auto-repaired. If not, alert will be sent that such and such camera or such and such hard drive has failed, and you might want to look into that. This, of course, can integrate with any other third-party systems for camera management that you might be using. We have a lightweight VMS also inbuilt, so you can view all these cameras live. You can just click on the alert and the live view pops up. And of course, for all of these, there are more explanations and demo available on our booths outside with Spectra. So you're welcome to talk to us there. Like I mentioned, more of these use cases, and we've implemented these use cases in automated warehouses as well, where there are conveyor belts. There are a lot of semi-automated operations that are already happening, but we want to at least monitor what happens when things fail, or when do things fail. So we can do that as well. There's also another important thing about inventory management, so calculating how many boxes or how many shipments or how many gunny bags or any other, how many of a certain goods came in versus went out, to prevent dispute resolutions with your clients, to prevent dispute resolutions with any other aggregators that you're using. All of this, like I mentioned earlier, is reported through a centralized dashboard. So all of the data that your warehouses or your facilities, branches, distribution centers, retail centers, they're generating, all of this goes into a centralized database and is reported through a cloud dashboard, which of course is a hierarchy-based login, which has a responsibility matrix, a responsibility-based login. So separate logins for security teams, separate for analytics teams, so that Again, the overarching goal is to reduce those number of alerts, reduce those number of violations that are happening, and ideally the graph should be going down. And of course, we may never get to zero, but that's always the goal. And you can see all the violations in a grid-like manner, so that the actions can be taken, they can be dismissed, resolved, or just kept as an archive for future reporting. This is a screenshot of the NVR dashboard. So basically where you can see the camera health of all your warehouses. So if everything is green, we're good to go. If anything is red, of course, some action needs to be taken. And since this is one of the basic requirements, that for anything else to function, the CCTV system should be first functioning. So at the very least, everyone should have this kind of system where anything goes wrong with the camera, you're the first person to know. Again, the same things are available on the mobile apps as well. And there can be notifications real time depending on who the alerts have been assigned to. So that is there. We have also recently introduced a chatbot. I don't know if it's there. Yeah, we've recently introduced a chatbot, so you can actually talk to your warehouse. You can just go to the chatbot. You can talk to it in your normal voice, saying, what's happening in my Bhiwandi warehouse, and it would just make a list of all the cameras, give you a screenshot, and also explain what is happening in a natural voice. So you don't even need to be looking at the screen. You can just open up your phone, open up the dashboard, talk to it, and it will tell you. You can also ask it questions like how many alerts are being generated, how is my warehouse performing compared to such and such warehouse of another region. So it will give you all of these metrics in a natural, human-like way, instead of looking at all these graphs, and you can get like a summary of these reports as well. Yeah, so the important thing to mention here is, we are a pure play video analytics company. We control the whole process end to end. We have our own bridges, we have our own backends, we have our own data center, own video processing algorithms. So a lot of customizability, a lot of flexibility is possible when it comes to video analytics implementation. And another most important point is that all of this information that you get is all in real time. And the data is actually secured via the most prominent encryption algorithms in our database as well, which you have control over via the dashboard. So you can have rules like deletion of data, downloading and then deleting as well. And then the ease of deployment is also there. For example, if we have a checklist that is fulfilled, a warehouse or any other facility can be even brought live in less than an hour, right? If we're not going with like a hardware-based solution where there needs to be a hardware shipped to the site can be even brought online as low as 30 minutes. So depends completely on the networking infrastructure, depends completely on the on our checklist being fulfilled essentially. So like I mentioned before, we have a lot of different verticals. We have the strongest, I would say we have one of the strongest offerings in warehouse and logistics in general. But we have all these other verticals, for example, manufacturing, where we're implementing a lot of monitoring of process violations in food manufacturing, in equipment manufacturing, automotive manufacturing. So any kind of manufacturing which has things that you can monitor from CCTV cameras, we can probably add value there. And then there's of course retail, where we're monitoring how the customer is behaving, what are they looking at, what are they not looking at, what are they interested in. And other verticals like banking, where we're doing ATM security. So for example, if someone just walks into an ATM wearing a helmet, the least we'll do is we'll take a screenshot of that incident, send it to the security team so that they can verify that this might be a suspicious behavior, or anyone fighting in the ATM, anyone tampering with the ATM, all of that can be done as well. Thank you so much. This was my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have for me. And of course,
Check. I would request you to kindly please be on the stage. That's so thoughtful of you that you ask them to come on the booth if they are feeling shy right now. But I don't feel like they are feeling shy at all. Any question? So please raise your hand and go ahead. Okay.
my explanation was good.
Yes, they understood everything. Okay.
There's a question from...
Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. I think it was eye-opening on the possibilities which are emerging now. Now, I think from the point of view of the audience, it was very relevant since you brought up this aspect of warehousing and logistics. And now my question is that there are certain defined cases which definitely you can train the model on and the cameras will pick up and give an alert. But over a period of time, people also find a way of, beating the process. So like in AI, we say it's a self-learning thing of what is right and what is wrong. How does this sort of, how does that aspect come here? Or is it a static learning sort of thing?
Very relevant question, I think I should have mentioned as well. The concept that you mentioned of active learning is there on the dashboard, where with every data that is collected is going to the shared repository of a shared model repository, where we're actually learning from all of the incidents that come to build a better understanding of the world. So there's of course one training involved, but even if say we have some very niche incident that we might not have the data of, our models can still with good accuracy predict those kind of conditions. So you can actually we have a model where you can just go and put in your own objects, and then that object would be the alert, and we don't have to do anything. You can just go and I want to detect if there are say beer bottles in the cafeteria of my warehouse, and even if we haven't explicitly trained for those, the system can relatively accurately detect those things. And of course the active learning is still there, where all the data that we're generating is going into a shared knowledge base, if you will.
Just one follow-up question on this.
Yeah.
While you mentioned that there's confidentiality of data, so my data will not be seen by somebody else or some other company. The other aspect is also that in a company you can define as many use cases, right. And in other company in the same warehouse you can have different type of use cases.
Right.
So where does the cross-pollination of learning for the model happening since you are across a canvas of companies?
So essentially, the cross-pollination is not happening because we don't want one data to, one kind of model talk to another kind of model, with the simple reason being you might have a very similar use case, but you might want to implement it differently, right? So I can give you an example where, say, one person might want an alert to come where a truck is completely uncovered. Another person might want the alert to come when the truck has a does not have a tarpaulin, but is otherwise covered with a steel roof. So these would be very similar models, but they're not exactly the same. So we have base models, and then we fine tune based on the customer data. But that is sort of sandboxed for that customer.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sir, I would request you to kindly be on the stage. And now I would request Mr. Sanjay Verma, National Logistic Manager from Evonik India Private Limited, to join us on the stage, and kindly felicitate Mr. Arush Kakkar, founder and CEO of Agrex.ai.